Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, today I just want to talk about knives that Cold Steel has made and that I have purchased for under $100, for under a bin. All these knives right here, when I originally purchased them, they were all under a bin, under $100 when I purchased them. And I just want to show you what Cold Steel has always been consistent at as far as quality is concerned over the past, I don't know, these knives go back to about, I don't know, to the mid 2000s, I think it is, like 2007 or 8 or something like that with these, and 9 and 10 or so with these. So but anyway, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about all of these. I hope y'all will have plenty of time or whatever, because it's going to be a long video. It's not going to be a short video. And we'll start off with and let's start with the Spada. This used to be one of my favorite knives to carry. As you can see, it's been totally polished. I always like to carry this one inside my leather jacket in the wintertime. When I wear my big, thick motorcycle jacket when I'm on the bike. This one fits perfectly in the pocket. When you put it in your pocket like this, upside down, the way that the pocket's shaped, it fits perfectly in the pocket. That's the reason why it doesn't have any pocket clips or anything on it. The ones I take the pocket clips off of are the ones that I just carry in a pocket, loosely in a pocket. And it's usually in my jacket pocket. Absolutely love it. This one I paid like $70 for when it first came out. And I carried it and it got a little bit scarred up or whatever, so I took it all apart and repolished everything and took certain areas to mirror polishes or whatever. Absolutely beautiful little knife. And this is a little spot. This is the Oz 8 version, the first version. Absolutely love it. Alright, well, let's get into, let's talk about some Recons. Now, I know that they're making these new little Recons again. This was my first one. As you can see, it's all polished because these came with a black Tough-Lite, or what they call a Tough X finish. And I used to hate that finish. I used to take it all the way off. This is an Oz 8 blade. Thick American G10 scales, not thin scales, but thick scales. Absolutely no flex at all. No flex at all. None of these knives, none of them have any flex in the handles. None of them. None of these knives have any flex in the handles. And that's one of the things I sort of want to point out to you, is that the Cold Steel has always made inexpensive knives that were very high quality. And knives that you could depend on when your life in a dire situation. This is a triad lock knife. Just about all these knives are triads. A couple of them aren't, because I want to show you the original versions of different models. And originally they didn't have a triad locks. This is a little Recon one. This is a little one. This is what they looked like originally before I took the Tough X finish off. This is another one that I kept, you know, like I always buy one to collect and one to use. The polished ones, when you see the polished ones, those are the ones that got used. and the ones like this one's never been used, never been carried, it's just been stored. Oz 8, original Tough X, mini Recon. Thick American G10 scales. And this was the last good version. This was the last good version of these. And this is CTS-XHP. It has the thinner scales, G10 scales, but they still don't flex. They don't flex at all. It's a very sturdy and very stout little knife. All these have 3.5mm blades. With I think it was a 3-inch blade. I want to say 3 inches, 3-inch blade. 3.5mm 3-inch blade. So it's a stout little knife. These were awesome. Awesome little knives. Awesome little knives. All right. Next up, oh, we still got a couple more Recons to do. This was my first Recon, as you can tell. I have another one of these. It's all blacked out. It's all stock. I never used it. But I don't have enough room on the table to put every knife out here that I have, so. Absolutely love Recon ones. It's always been one of my all-time favorite folders to carry for utility, self-defense, or whatever. This is a great knife. One that you can really depend on. I would recommend it to soldiers, to law enforcement, to anybody, emergency medical technicians, fire people, Coast Guard. This is a great knife. I highly recommend the Recon one. And the 4-inch one is the one that I probably carried the most. I have the bigger ones. I have all these. I have the bigger. Always have the biggest things. But these are the ones I carried the most. Are the 4-inch ones. And you can tell I carry this one a lot. And I have another one that's like this too. That's polished also. That I carried a lot also. So I had 2 of these I carried a lot. And this one was carried as a pocket knife for a jacket. I removed the pocket clip, delete. All right, next up will be my Snaggletooth Recon 1. Snaggletooth MF Recon 1. If you want yours to look like this, go to Snaggletooth MF. Order some parts for it. I got this one has the ring, it has aluminum. This is not the plastic, but it's aluminum Snaggletooth. Absolutely love it. This is my favorite Recon to carry. Absolutely love it. And yes, you can fidget with the cold steel. Try it. You just got to know how to do it. Come back to your finger. Flip it around. Close it, open it, go back to your finger, flip it around, close it, open it. I love these. I love these. I've carried Recon 1s and Talwars and Hold Outs more than any other cold steel knives. And the Espadas too. Espadas and Voyagers. Ooh, I can't leave out my Voyagers. I carry Voyagers every day. Even now. Okay. Next up. I think that's it for the Recons. That's it for the Recons. Okay, next up. All-time favorite. Talwar. Talwar. All-time favorite. All-time favorite. Talwar. I've been waiting for them to make the new ones. They haven't made the new ones. This is my original Talwar. As you all know, I have a bunch of Talwars. But the one I carry the most is still the first one I purchased. The very first one I purchased. That's this one. It's the very first Talwar I ever purchased. As you can see, it's been polished because it's been used and it's been scratched up and used, so it's been polished. Functions perfectly. I've had this knife for I don't even know how many years. I've carried it everywhere. Excellent knife. Excellent knife. I got total faith and confidence in that knife. So Oz 8 version. And here's my most used holdout. My most used holdout. Been totally polished. These are all excellent knives. No flex in the handles. I don't know what cold steel's doing nowadays. No flex in the handles. These are excellent knives. These are, compared to just about any other knife this knife would be heavy duty compared to it. Just because the lock is not going to fail on you, period. And the lock wears, you know, so so you don't get a lot of blade play and all that kind of mess as the knife gets old. This knife is still solid. It's still solid. It's been opened and closed and manipulated and played with more than any of you are going to ever probably play with all your knives put together. Because I'm a fidget master. I mean, I'm fidget. I don't want to call myself a master at anything, but I'm a person who fidgets all the time. I'm a fidgeter, and I like to fidget with pocket knives. I know it sounds kind of crazy and weird, but yep, I do it all the time. I fidget. That's the reason why I like to, get pocket knives and stuff, because I like to try out the different ones to fidget with. And see, but anyway, I love this knife. The holdouts, they should never stop making these. This is one of the best knives Cold Steel ever made. It's a good all-around knife for everything. It's designed after the old, I think it's a Scottish Skeen-Do. I want to say Scottish people. Scottish Skeen-Do. And it was a knife that was used for self-defense. It was used for everyday purposes, for kitchen and culinary work, as your dinner knife. It was used for everything. And everybody just about carried these. And most of them are carried hidden. Women used to carry them underneath their dresses. But they weren't folding knives, they were fixed blades. But this is a reproduction of the Scottish Skeen-Do in a folding knife version. And the handle's made the same way, where the handle drifts wide, so you don't need a finger guard, because if you're holding the grip tight, your hand can't slide forward because it gets wider as it gets toward the blade. That design, it'll keep you from sliding up on the blade if you have a tight grip on the handle. Excellent design, and it's super flat. Even though the ones that I like the best are the original ones with the thick scales. The newer ones in the smaller size, except for the XL, came with the thinner scales, and those are strong and everything too. And I don't dislike them at all. As a matter of fact, I have a black set of them that I made in CTS-XHP, totally blacked out with a Talwar and the Hold Out. They like to carry on the bike all the time, and the thin one hides away my vest so good. I mean, that's one reason why I like these, because they're good for inside vest pocket carry. And that's why I like to carry these, inside my motorcycle vest, where the gun holster goes, or is. Those of you ride motorcycles and you wear vests, you know what I'm talking about. Hook it right in on the elastic gun vest strap. That's inside my vest. Nobody will never know that you have it. And lots of times I carry the XL version of this like that. But when I'm in the city, though, I carry this one. Why? Because of our rules, our laws. If we didn't have the rules and laws that we had, I'd carry the XL all the time in my vest. Because that's what it is, an emergency backup knife, and I like to have them big as possible. I don't know, this is me. Y'all do what you want to do. American Hunter. Another great knife. These brand new back in the day were under $100. Right around $100, but some places would be a little bit over $100, but they'd be right around or under $100. I paid $89 for this one. But it was an eBay auction I purchased this one in, so I didn't buy it brand new. But it's a beautiful knife. This is a CTS-XHP version. Oh, this one I paid like $70 for. $70 for. This one I paid like $70 for also. Like I think $75 or something like that. Back in the day when they first came out. And these are Oz 8 versions. And you were also able to get these sizes in CTS-XHP for under $100 also. The Recon one was about the same price as the Talwar. And the Oz 8, they were both like right around. Sometimes you'd be able to get them for like in the 60s, but usually you'd get them like in the 70s or $80 range. This one was close to $100, because this is a CTS-XHP version, and I think it was like around $80 to $90 or something like that. All right, next up on line is Code 4s. These are Code 4s. This is CTS-XHP version. I bought this one last year because I'd never had purchased one other, because I had like 3 of the Oz 8 ones. And this is one that I used to carry, as you guys could tell. It's polished. all polished out. This one I overdid it on the lock bar and stuff, so it doesn't have that much detent anymore. So it's too easy to flick out, and so I stopped carrying it because of that. Because where I live, if something can be easily flicked out, sometimes the police will call it a switchblade. So you gotta be careful about that. And that's when I was first learning how to tune these things. But you know, it locks up solid. No blade play or nothing like that. It's just I made it too smooth. Made it too smooth. Alright. Next up is my Snaggletooth. Snaggletooth MF. Another Snaggletooth product. This is code 4. This is newer code 4. This is the S35VN version. And it has a spear point blade. And it's the all blacked out one. And Snaggletooth has a milling machine where they can mill things the way that you want. They can put make your handles fancy and stuff like that. And they made these handles for me. Absolutely love it. This was set up for reverse draw out your front right pocket. So when you draw it out like this. And I just put this one out here. You know, this knife right here was like almost $100. I think it was like 90 something dollars. And then if you were to get the Snaggletooth stuff, you know, it puts it way over $100. But I just want to point out what you can do with your knife. And if you hook up with a company like Snaggletooth, they have ways to customize your knives for you if you want to. You can put their parts on. This is aluminum Snaggletooth and the aluminum ring. They look beautiful on these knives, and they function perfectly. They function flawlessly. And this one's a DLC coded code 4. Here's the Recon's DLC coded also. Broken Skull. Steve Austin Broken Skull. I love this knife. I hate the name though. This knife is a beautiful knife. I've heard a lot of people asking me about gentleman's knives that are, you know, big cold steel gentleman's knives. And I would put this in that category. Even though the handles aren't flexible at all. This is one of the American G10 handle scales, older discontinued version. But they also made these in S35VN up until not too long ago. And so you can still get these. And if you want one of these kind of knives, I would recommend this one over the new Range Boss. The new Range Boss is a nice knife, but this one is really a lot nicer knife because the handles don't flex, the steel is a lot better. This would be the one I would recommend. The Range Boss is an okay knife though, don't get me wrong. I think it's okay, even though the handles are a little bit flexy and stuff like that. You know, these are meant to be lightweight knives. And I think it'd be perfectly okay if the handle's a little bit flexy on that one, but me, myself, I'm just not a flexi handle person. I don't want a flexi handle on any of my knives. If it has a flexi handle, I won't carry it. That's just me. And this one I carry a lot. And I think I have 3 of these. They're all in different colors. And this is my favorite one, the OD green one. As you guys know, I like OD green. I think I have a white one, or I don't know. I think I got a couple more. And this is another great little knife too. And these, I think I paid $70 for it. I want to say $70, $75 or something like that. It's an Oz 10 blade. The new Oz 10 steel, which is a really good steel. Thick all the way tip. Very stout little knife. American G10 handle scales. It's got the thinner handle scales, but like I said, they don't flex. These are really nice little knives. If you're looking for a great budget folder, to me a budget folder is anything under $100. That's why I call budget folders. By today's standards, that's I would go $100 or less for what I would call a budget folder. 100 to 200, that's mid grade. 200 and up, that's when things start getting expensive. most of the knives I probably carry nowadays are in the $100 to $200 range. But I used to carry the ones in between, like about $50 to $100 the most. And that was these, the cold steels. I'm showing the ones I used to carry. This one I never carried that much. I carried a little bit. It was in my rotation drawer for a while. It's a great knife. I think that the reason why I didn't carry this one because I didn't like the pocket clip. The pocket clip used to bug me about how big and shiny it was. Alright, let's go back this way. One of my all-time favorite folders of all time that Cold Steel has made. That's Andrew Demko design, which is basically based off of the AD-10 in the 4MAX. It's the American Lawman. The American Lawman. Absolutely love these knives. It's one of my all-time favorites. This one's set up for jacket carry. As you can see, no pocket clip. These old ones with the Oz 8 and the thick handle scales were some of the smoothest of all of the American Lawman. This knife is, I don't even know how old it is. It's old. It's been carried a lot. It's been pulled apart a lot. It's been maintained. It's been polished. It's had everything done to it that I do to knives. And it's rock solid. Rock solid. The blade's razor sharp. It's rock solid. It's ready to go to work. It's a great knife. Don't knock the old Cold Steel Oz 8s all the time. The only thing that I didn't like about the old Cold Steel Oz 8s is that these came all black. I'll show you what it looked like originally here in a minute. This was the user, and I also had one that was a collector. But this was my user. Absolutely love it. I think it's some of the best. I think the American Lawman is one of the best all-time pocket knives of all time. If there was a Hall of Fame for American pocket knife or for folding knives, for pocket knives, EDC knives, American Lawman should be in it. It should be in the Hall of Fame. It's that good to me. I think it's that good. And this is what the one that I just showed you looked like when it was new before I polished it. Now this is the old Tough X finish, and this finish will come off very easily, and it flakes off like paint. And so, and you can remove it like paint too. You just get a good paint remover, and it'll come off just like paint. Absolutely love these knives though. This is my newest version. I never did get the S35VN. I might still get that one because I understand that they went from a hollow ground blade like they did on all these old ones. All the old ones had hollow ground blades. And the new ones with S35VN have a saber ground blade. I think this knife would be better with a hollow ground blade the way they originally made it. And sometimes hollow grounds are better for like utility knives and knives that you use for everyday cutting chores, because they're thinner behind the edge, easier to resharpen, and they slice very nicely. This one gets used a lot. It's still in my EDC drawer. It's been my EDC drawer ever since I've had it for like the last 10 years. I don't even know how long I don't even know when they first started making the CTS-XHP one. And when they did, that's when I bought this one. And it has DLC coating. Not the cheap Tough X. And this is the mini Lawman and CTS-XHP. And it's in my drawer also. This is all DLC coated too. And this one's been heavily used. You can see the edge is polished. It has a polished edge. Because I actually use this one a whole lot for like, when I'm out in public, I used to always use this one to cut open letters, like when I'm at my P.O. box picking up mail. And I'm checking mail or whatever and I'm out in public. I use something like this. That's why I like little knives too. I like big knives and little knives. I think it's cool to carry a big knife as a self-defense tool. Yeah, I said it. Self-defense tool. Or a backup weapon to your firearm, or whatever you want to call it, you know. And then have a little knife for your utility chores. For, you know, open up your mail, or if you have to pull it out in front of other people in public. It won't freak out the other people. You don't want to pull out a big knife in front of other people. That would tend to, you know, in most places, most circumstances, that won't have positive results. It'll freak out some people. So if you're going to pull a knife out in front of somebody, pull a little knife. Just a little mini AK-47 in CTS-XHP. I don't know why they stopped making this one. This one's a great knife too, the way it fit your grip. See, that's the other thing I liked about the cold steel little knives. Is that Andrew Dimko was, he's not only a master making locks, he's a master making grips. This grip is like awesome. Awesome, and if you want to go to the rear grip, you still have a good grip, even though you only have gripping 3 fingers, because you got the finger grooves and it just like locks you in. That's one reason why I like these knives, because I always like to carry a knife, even though it's a small knife. I want to carry a knife that I can use as a self-defense tool if I had to. And that's why I like this AK-47, because it stretches out the blade, makes the blade reach a little bit longer, the way the handle's made. And you get a really good grip, just like the mini Lawman. Hollow ground blade, CTS-XHP. Excellent little knife. Now if Cold Steel's going to be making little stuff and everything like that, make high quality little stuff like Cold Steel used to make. Don't make junk. Don't make stuff out of 40, 35 or whatever that crappy ass steel is, or you know, with weak liners and stuff like that. Make stuff like this. Cold Steel has tons of knives that they made in the past that you guys can go back and remake or whatever, that are awesome knives. I mean, just I don't know how to describe them. These are all, every one of these knives is awesome, and it's awesome because of what you got for the money, what you got for the price. With this one, you got 6061 aluminum handle scales. You know, nice steel. Well, you know, whatever steel was nice steel at that time. With these are all American G10, non-flexible American G10. American G10. And now we're going to go into one of the Cold Steel's old Axis style locks or crossbar locks. I think they call it the Ultra lock. But it's an Axis lock. This is Cold Steel's version of it. It's a little bit awkward. It's not as smooth as like the as a Benchmade. Benchmade makes the best Axis lock. Benchmade, I would say SOG. Benchmade, SOG, and Hogue. If you want really good Axis locks, the Able lock is really good that Hogue makes. The XR lock is my new favorite because it has a flipper. You can get it with the flipper. And if you just need an Axis lock by itself, Benchmade is the master. Benchmade is the master of the Axis lock. I wish I'd make it with a flipper like SOG does. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. I would like to see them. I would like to see Cold Steel bring back this lock and use it in some of their other knives, like that would make great fidgeting knives. Like I don't know, like a Talwar. Talwar would be awesome with a crossbar lock. What else? And you could put a flipper on it so you can still have your quill-ons. Do like SOG does. And I don't know. There's lots of knives that would be awesome with that type of lock. Because I think it's cool for, you know, because I understand that, you know, if you're like me, I like to try different things, and I like all kinds of locks. I like Cold Steel because of what they used to give you for your money, and the fact that they were giving you a real good tool that would be, you know, it's probably the best folding knife that there is when it comes to, you know, self-defense. You know, as far as like, you know, lockup is concerned, you know, you have to worry about, it's like a folding fixed blade. A Cold Steel Triad to me and a Flavio Kuma deadbolt, those are two knives that I have two lock types I have total confidence in. And like all the other ones, like with a I don't know, any other lock, like a plunge lock. I like plunge locks too. Plunge lock, a crossbar lock or Axis lock. or even liner lock or compression lock or what do you call it, frame lock. I think as long as they have flippers, those are safe. But without flippers, I don't know. It's up to you. With me, I don't want to use any of those knives without flippers. I want them all to have flippers. Especially now that I know, you know, after using flippers for the last year or so, how safe and secure they make me feel with the way that they go around my finger and stuff like that, and how you can't close the blade even if the lock comes disengaged. That just gives me you know, that little bit of extra bit of sense of security. Next up, AK-47. This was a black one I stripped the paint off of, the Tough X finish. This was my first AK-47. Absolutely love these knives. Absolutely love them. I didn't carry them as much as like the Recons and the Talwars because it's heavier and it has a shorter blade. So, but I still love the knife though. Hollow ground blade. This one's a CTS-XHP. Olive drab G10, American G10 handle scales. All these knives were under $100. This one was like about 90 something. And now they're more expensive. I know that. But this one, when it first came out, I think I paid like $65 for it. This one, when it first came out, I can't remember what I paid for it. I want to say like $80, somewhere around there. All right. Next up, Goldeneye. Now they have a new version of this one. It's called the Silver something. But I always thought this was a great knife, but I just didn't like the way it was. I didn't like the gold finishes and stuff like that on it. But if this would have had just a black handle with silver finishings and a black clip, I'd have been all over this knife because it's a super stout, well-made knife. Nice thick blade scales. I mean, a blade. I love Tontos, the Coastal American Tontos. Awesome grip. Ergonomically, it feels really good in hand. It's a great knife. I just didn't get into the Goldeneye thing because I'm not James Bond. I sort of wish I was James Bond, at least as far as the women are concerned, but I'm not James Bond. This is another one. The Cold Steel Con. This is an Oz 8 blade. I think it's a 3-incher. American G10 handle scales. I think I paid like $40 for this. $40, and this one was like 80. I want to say $70 or $80, something like that. Absolutely love the Con. Highly recommend it. All these knives I would highly recommend. All of them. Okay, now we're going to get into some of my favorites. Some of my favorites next. This is my first triad folder out of all my knives. This was the very first one. The large Cold Steel Voyager. It was the first one. Now, I have a couple more Voyagers on here that I want to show you, but they wouldn't fit on the table, so let me just pull them out real quick. This is a gun sight, and this is the original type of Voyager. No handle flex, and no steel in the handles. It's all Zytel. No handle flex. Very similar to the way that the new Range Boss is made. Only this is only it doesn't have as many pieces though, but it has like real thick Zytel though. Maybe that's why they should have made the Range Boss, made the handles thicker instead of trying to make them thin. And this is one that I used to carry all the time. These are the pre-triad Voyagers. I just want to show you that real quick. And yes, they were all under $100. They were under like $60, I think. This one I paid $43 for it. This one I paid $55 for it. And this is the new one. That's the new one. Absolutely love these barong style blades. They're calling it a drop point. I call it the barong, Filipino barong style blade. Beautiful blade. Beautiful knife. They function flawlessly. Next up, one of my old favorites that I used to carry all the time. This is the one that never got used. Oz 8. Yep, the Oz 8 version. Never got used. Great knife. Counterpoint. And this is the one I used to carry. It'll be easy to tell why, because it's been polished. I ain't even polished the internals on this one. It's totally polished. Absolutely love them. I used to carry this one all the time too. But like all my knives, you know, I carry them for a little bit and then something else comes out and I'll start carrying that, so they never really get beat up. My knives, this one also is a jacket knife, no pocket clip. Another great one that doesn't get enough attention, I think, is the Raja 3. I've had a bunch of these that I carried. I gave one to my sister that I totally polished out and she really liked it. And she carries it in her purse. Now, this is a great little knife too. 4mm thick blade stock. It's fully lined with aluminum liners. Heat-treated aluminum liners. It has a Grivex handle. This is the original version. All mine are original ones. They're all the Oz 8 ones. I think I have like about 3 of them. Because it used to be one of my favorite knives to carry as a utility knife. Because I used to always be working in the garage, building motorcycles and working on things and stuff like that. Absolutely love these. Highly recommend it. It's Raja 3. I haven't done a video on these in a long time. But you can go back and see my old videos on them because I absolutely love this one. That was a great knife. And as you can tell, you know, it's been heavily carried. It was a great knife. It was one that I used a lot. This one I never really carried. I bought it, but I bought it to check it out, but I never really carried it. And I think it's perfectly fine. It's a great little knife. It's a 4116 or 4116 German corrupt stainless steel blade. But I don't have any problems with the 4116. It's just the 4035 I'm not digging. 4116 is okay in budget blades. But the 4035, I don't know, I'm going to pass on that one. I'm not going to be buying any more knives with that still. Alright. Great knife. Oh, this has the, all these have the Grivex handles. This one has heat-treated aluminum liners and they're embedded inside the Grivex. These have heat-treated aluminum liners that are embedded inside the Grivex. These are the Voyagers. This is the counterpoints. And the Rajas have heat-treated aluminum liners with Grivex embedded inside the Grivex. This just has Grivex. This just has a Grivex handle scale. And no flex, no flex. And this is like a $30 knife. $30-something knife, if I remember right. I think it was less than that. I think it was like 20-something. Because I bought 2 of them. And I think I bought them. You know what? I think I paid $19 for them each one. Because they had like a special sale at Midway a couple years ago when they first came out. And I think I got 2 of them for like $19 each. But that was a special sale. I think the regular price was $20-something. But anyway, this one's constructed the same way. All these have triad locks too. And this is one of my all-time favorite mini folders for micro folders. It's a tough light. This is a new one. This one that's never been used. The other one I use all the time is in my car right now. And the blade, and you would know that it's been used because it's all polished. The blade's polished. But anyway, this one right here is one of the new GSM models, and I absolutely love it. This is a GSM model also. GSM got these two right. These two are absolutely done perfectly right. So I know when GSM wants to, they can make it. They can have, you know, produce very nice products. These are done right. And this one is probably one of the smoothest ones I've had since the American Lawman in Oz 8. This is in the Chinese steel HCR 13 MOV. And I absolutely love this knife. It's got a super thick blade. I think it's like near a 5mm. Absolutely love it. And this is another great new one that GSM is making that they got right. Is the 8015 Lite. I absolutely love my 80. I sort of like it better than the other ones, to tell you the truth. With the better steels and the G10 handles. This one has Grivery handles, but the Grivery handles look just like the G10 handles. You can't really tell the difference. I can anyway. Because I have the black one with G10 and the S35V, and I have two of those, and I have two of the other ones with the lighter colored handle, the green handles. And this is the only one I got with the Oz 10 blade. And I like this one the best. I don't know why, but for some reason this one's easier to manipulate. The other ones, they take more work to manipulate. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because something maybe might be a little bit looser on one of the parts or something. But there's no blade play at all on this knife. So I don't know what it is. Maybe just after making them for, you know, a few years now, that they got the machining down right on this one. But highly recommend the Oz 10 version. And you can get these. I've seen them as low as $75. Go to places like Blade Emporium and different places like that, and you'll find them, you know, at very low prices. It's easy to find these under $100. You usually find them, places that sell them for under $100 are usually some for like in the 90s, sort of, like $90 right around there. But I've seen them as low as like $75. And they're for the real ones. They're come from legitimate stores. You just have to look for them. But I highly recommend this one. This is one of my new favorites from this one. I think my new favorites from GSM are these. These are my new favorites from GSM. The 8015, the SR1 Lite, and the new Voyager with the drop point or a barong style blade. And my other new favorites too are for the Talwites or the crisp blades, whether it be serrated or plain. I like them both, and I think they got those right. But I really would like to see the new Talwar and the Holdouts. Those are the ones I'm still waiting on that I really want to get. The Talwar and the Holdouts. But I just want everybody to know that Cold Steel has always made very, very, very good, very, very, very high quality, very, very, very strong and dependable knives that you can depend on, that don't break your bank and don't bust your wallet up. They have always given people some of the best value for the dollar, in my opinion. No other knife is stronger than a Triad, period. We don't need to debate that or not. Other knives are more fun to manipulate and use than the Triads. That's true. That's true. But no other lock type is stronger than a Triad. This is the most dependable lock type that you can get. If you need a knife that you really need to be able to depend on, and in a dire situation as a backup weapon or tool or whatever, I would recommend a Triad folder over any other folder. I don't care how much the folder costs. I don't care if it's a Chris Reeve that costs $600. I'd rather have a Voyager in a fight. If I'm in a fight, I'd rather have this than any Chris Reeve knife. Why? Because the grip, number one, is awesome. Number two, I don't have to worry about this blade foam back in my hand. Number three, all Cold Steel blades, the old knives, they're all thick and they're strong. And they're tempered right. So, I don't know, that's just me. That's just me. You know, to me, these are real tools. They're not made to look pretty. They're not made to be, you know, to be fake or wannabes or whatever, just to get your eye or whatever. To me, you know, they're all beautiful to me, because what's beautiful to me is something that's functionable, something that's fully functional. I don't get into stuff that's not functional. You know, sometimes I like to buy decorative looking knives or whatever, but I just get those to collect. I don't get them to use. Those are collector's tool knives for me. See, most of these knives that you're looking right here, a good percentage of them are like knives that I really, really used a lot. And the examples of that would be this one. This one I used a lot. These I used a lot. And still do use a lot. These two I still do use a lot. This one is used a lot. This one got 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 used a lot. You know what I'm saying? These are I know these knives. I've been using them since they've been being made. And all these knives, even my old ones, they still function like brand new knives. They don't really wear out. I mean, I'm sure, you know, you could take it and you could pound on some bricks or do some stupid ass shit like that and destroy a knife. Yeah, you know, any knife you can do that to and destroy it. You know what I'm talking about? But if you just use knives for the purpose that a knife is supposed to be meant to be used for, these old cold steel knives, they last forever. And they don't get loose and weak and fall apart. And they're all made so you can take them apart and clean them, and they're easy to maintain. I just highly recommend them. I mean, it's a great design. You know, I know you see me buying a lot of and trying out a lot of knives that are like, you know, like flippers and things like that. It's because I just like playing with knives. I like to fidget with them and play with them. And those knives are better at doing that than the cold steel knives. Because the triad lock, you know, I can fidget with the triad lock, you know, just as good as anybody else, but it's not my favorite knife to fidget with, though. When I think of cold steel knives, I think of knives that you know, for heavy duty use, and knives that you're going to have to be doing some serious cutting chores with. And I highly recommend any knife, any cold steel knife of the old cold steel knives with the when they made knives that had handles that didn't flex and bend and tweak and do weird things. Knives that were meant to be able to hold, you know, 2 or 3, 400, 500, 600 pounds of dead weight on them. None of those new flexi knife handles are going to be able to hold any dead weight like that. They'd fall apart. They fall apart just because of the construction. Not because of the lock, but just because of the construction. But these knives are all the knives that we saw video test on, and we saw weight hangs on, and we saw Andrew Demko, you know, stress test them. We saw everybody else on the internet, on YouTube, trying to destroy them and stuff like that. These are serious knives. These are the real deal. And anybody that tells you that they're not, I would say they don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, I just had to get that rant out there. You guys won't be seeing me buying a whole bunch of new knives for the next month or so, because I bought something else, and I'm buying parts for it right now to fix it up. And I'm going to show it to you. When it gets here, I'll show it to you. But anyway, peace out, Stiletto. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Peace.